Hey everyone. So yesterday I did a video talking about the raid, early raid impressions, just based on the information we got. And I heard it from a lot of people, some people agreeing with me that it's not as bad as, some other people are saying and Reddit is saying, and all of the people flipping out. Just pointing out the math behind it. And I heard from kind of both sides of that argument. But an interesting thing that I kind of noticed as a trend throughout that post, throughout that video, was that a lot of the people, and this is not everybody, right? I don't want anyone coming at me and being like, oh, I'm not part of that. But a lot of the people who were struggling were people who were not willing to put any investment into raid prep. So we're not even talking about the argument of late game players, which I had brought up, and the fact that like pirates aren't even farmable yet, and there are two paywalled teams. But we're just talking about people in like the mid game who very much were like, well, I didn't even start my bad batch 3 months ago. I didn't even do this, and I don't want to apply Kyrotechs and Zetas and blah blah blah. Well, this is my signal to you. Um, we have 4 days of bonus drops on the Bad Batch. Um, and I wasn't planning on doing a video this morning at all until I woke up and I started doing those battles. And we're going to talk about that after the intro. Okay, so we have 4 days of Bad Batch bonus drops going on right now. They are on only the hard nodes for dark side and light side. And an interesting thing that I did kind of notice here, other than the fact that I already have Omega at 7 stars, and she drops Omegas instead as a replacement, which is funny to me. One kind of cool thing that they did is they put Omega, who was the first farmable character on light side, and then they put Crosshair, who is the last farmable character on dark side. And that may be frustrating to people who haven't started farming at all. But for those of us who did take the time and the effort to start Omega right away, that meant that we really didn't have to make a choice. Either we're super close to finishing Omega and we can do Crosshair towards the end, or we are already done with Omega and we can just focus on Crosshair. On our mod battles, we have Hunter, which is really nice for me. I want to try and maximize this as much as possible so I do not lose out on Cantina signal data. We have, I believe it's Wrecker, who is on Cantina battles. I actually ended up getting an Omicron this morning, which was really super nice, a nice surprise. And then Patcher is on her own farms, right? So hard nodes. Patcher is a fleet node and also on hard node fleets. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this specifically is that while we do not have a lot of data right now, we have a very, very, very limited amount of data. We don't know the specifics of how generous these are. I cannot pinpoint an actual number. One thing, that I can do here is I can go to Discord, which I should have prepared ahead of time. Where is it? I guess maybe I can't go to Discord. Does this not want me? Oh, there we go. And I can give my own experience. Wrecker, 13 out of 20 battles. That's pretty awesome. 320 energy. Hunter, 16 shards out of 31 battles. That's pretty awesome. Batcher, I went 2 for 5. I don't refresh that energy, and I'm so close to finishing her that I didn't care to refresh that energy. If we go to the the event server, I believe there are some other screenshots. 11 out of 20 over here, 8 out of 14 over here. Some other people are reporting a 3.5% drop rate on per energy spent. 16 times 52. This person's got 3.36. So we're looking at presumably about a 2.5 to about 4% drop rate per energy spent. By the time we get the numbers for that, it's going to be too late to really do anything about it. But the purpose is, this is my signal to say, if you haven't started raid prep, and if you're in the early and the late, the mid game, and you're really mad at CG because they didn't give you enough old teams, which I understand as an argument, as a complaint, they are putting it in your hands to really start getting this team ready as soon as you possibly can. I expect that I will be finished with at least 3 out of the 4 of the ones that I need done by the end of these 4 days. Let's see, Crosshair. Yeah, I think I could get Crosshair done by then. I think the only one that I maybe am a little concerned about here is Hunter, needing 78 shards left, but we'll see. One other thing that CG did do, and there are 2 things here in the store, is provide us, actually there are 3 things in the store. Look at this little beauty. They did provide us with some options for purchasing energy if you want it. I know a few people asked me about this 1,000 crystal pack yesterday. I will say that my thought process is that this is definitely a luxury. I did not do an analysis on it. We're looking at 300 normal, 200 cantina, 200 mod, 200 ship as our absolute base level. That alone, I don't think would be worth it without the bonus drops. If we get this 40%, I think it's like barely worth it, and only because of those shard drops, right? If the shard drops didn't exist, I definitely don't think it would be worth it. But if we are looking at even just getting 400 energy, right? So 400 energy times 0.03, that's about 12 shards in one energy set. And that's pretty nice, especially if you are very behind. One thing that I did value, though, would be the energy ascension that we have here, right? And we're going to pull that up in a second. Where is it here? Go over to Chrome. Man, my sources are having problems today. Chrome, Google. Let's see. Run that out. Why are my sources having problems? There we go. We're going to go over to Energy Ascension 2. One important note that I want to make on this pack is that when it comes to giving a good shard value for energy, it's really tough, right? It's very, very, very tough because you're thinking of different levels of energy generation, whether you value it as a low-end 50 crystal, 100 crystal for the first level of resets, whether you value it at the second level of resets. For my purposes, I have valued this at the second level of resets. So 100 crystals, 200 crystals. I think it is fair at tier 2 and 3 to value this at the first level of resets. I definitely think that is something that you can consider, right? And we can even kind of look at it as that if we want to. Equals divided by 2, which maybe doesn't make the bottom level super worth it. The reason that I have valued it higher than that as the second level of resets is I do think it's assumed that players are going to purchase their normal refreshes before purchasing this and use this as a supplement, not as a replacement, why would I use real money to replace fake money? To me, that just doesn't make sense, which is why I keep this here. But as we get into higher levels of energy being given, it's hard to argue with the fact that you are getting a huge increase in terms of the items that you are receiving. At the top end, spending about $25, you're getting 1,850 energy, which again is 1,850 times 0.03. It's about 55 shards. Pretty damn nice. 1,300 times 0.3, about 40 shards. That's pretty damn nice. I actually think that you'll get more than that, especially on Cantina. Generally, Cantina bonus nodes are a little above because of the reduced generation cost. And then eventually ending up at my valuation rate at about a 65% increase in value. Though, if anybody in the comments has any better ideas in terms of developing a more complex system for energy valuation, I would love to hear it, because that is something that is stumping me over the last couple of days. What is the purpose of this video? Again, this is just a signal that you need to start your Bad Batch farm, right? I'm not a religious person, but this definitely reminds me of an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger that I watched as a kid. My dad was also not a religious person. He just liked Chuck Norris and thought he was awesome way before the jokes, and loved to watch a dumb action show after work. And there was one episode where at the end of the episode, I don't remember the whole episode, but at the end of the episode, Chuck Norris was telling a parable about a guy on his deathbed who had prayed to God to win the lottery. Every day he'd pray to God to win the lottery. And then he passed away, and he was really, really mad, and he lost his religion because he was pissed at God because he never won the lottery. But it had turned out, and it's kind of revealed to you after this is all said and done, that the guy never played the lottery, right? So he was praying to win something that he never even entered into. So even if the God that he believed in existed, there is no way for that God to, help him out. And I think the moral of that story was like, you do have to do things for yourself, whether you're not whether you believe in the religion or not. And that's kind of what I'm noticing with raid prep here with people when it comes to Bad Batch, when it comes to like clones. I think Apo just became farmable. Is they're like, man, I just want it to be in front of me. I just want the thing, but I don't want to put in that effort. This is your time. This is your opportunity. If you are in the lower end, this is your ability even to just get them to 5 stars, right? So that you can use them in the raid at the bottom tier. As a reminder, and I did not talk about this yesterday, CG did signal to us that the first 2 tiers of this raid are expected to be significantly easier than the first 2 tiers of Naboo. So I am heavily expecting that you will be able to max those tiers without going completely crazy on anything, right? And that even just 300,000 across 50 people, so 300 times 50, that's a 15 million raid score on one base level squad, not counting everything else. So you get nothing else out of this video. Farm your Bad Batch. Get them started. Send this video to all your Bad Batch haters. Kai, Michael, I'm looking at you, man. I know, every day you give me crap. Like, oh, I don't want to farm my Bad Batch. Egnards being mean to me. Don't come to me in a month, guys, and complain about how you couldn't do certain things when this was put right in front of us. and it is seemingly incredibly free to play generous. Let me know what you think in the comments. That said, peace out, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.